First things first episode, Nick says we'd get the stud game from Luka and the dud game from James Harden. Both came true, classic one. Luka was a little sick and a little injured, but he poured it on the Clippers 35, 7, and 10. Rough week for germs. Just rough week for germs. Like, oh, I'm sick. Like, are you? I'm glad for you. Here's Luka after the game.
It's playoffs, when you start the game in the playoffs, it's a different thing, and there's a lot of adrenaline, a lot of emotion, so you just keep going. Yeah, it's tough, I can't breathe through nose, so I have to blow my nose every time on. But like I said, it's the adrenaline of the playoff game.
Okay, let's.
Can't breathe through the nose. That's going to make the post-game hookah really hard. That's a tough spot.
I'm surprised Luka got it done.
No. Here's the thing. If you can be legendary before you win a title, before you know what I mean, have been in the league long enough to be a legend.
Are we going legend status?
Well, no, that's what I think. Bruce, hearing me on this, I'm saying if you can be, if you have access to that word or terminology, he is a legendary playoff performer. As far as a guy who, without being in the league long enough to have enough pelts on the wall, every time we see him in the postseason, he's unbelievable. He is, for his career in the playoffs, 32, 9, and 8. There's only 3 guys in league history that are 25, 6, and 6. Him, Joker, and LeBron. 2 certified legends in him. So remove the rebounds and assists part of it. What does 32 points per game in the playoffs mean? It means he's one of 2 guys to be at 30. It's the ultimate legend.
Oh, I have to pause this real fast because people tried to tell me that Iverson was not that good or this or that. And you see Iverson, amongst giants. And look what he did. Pretty impressive.
Michael Jordan, an icon in Iverson, what some people think is the best scoring forward of all time in Durant, Jerry West, who went to 9 finals, and LeBron James. Those are the guys.
That's nice how you made it at 28 so you could get.
I didn't do 28. I just said top 6. I didn't know who the 6th was. A lot of people do top 5s. I said do top 6. I didn't do 28 points. I just know where it was. Also, as it happens, it's just a great list. I don't know. Talk to Josh about that. But this was inevitable. And Dallas is the better team. Luka is by far the best player in the series. And in my opinion right now, the only guy who has an argument for that with him is Kyrie, for how Kyrie has played, thus far this series. And I'll tell you this much, Brew. I firmly believe this Mavs team is ending up in the conference finals at least.
Could be.
And so the Nuggets, Timberwolves is going to be a brutal series, and we'll discuss that, I'm sure, more tomorrow. I know you, but I think Brew might pick the Timberwolves. I don't know. And so, but I think that.
I'm not just doing it for the show.
Yeah, I think the Mavs can absolutely close this series out in 6 and beat the Thunder because they got up 3-2 with Luka, in my opinion, only having 1 excellent game so far these playoffs.
And let's just completely forget that Kawhi Leonard has been injured and that he was a complete liability in the games that he did play because he could not actually play. So he was just wasted space on the court. Let's pump the brakes here on the Dallas Mavericks. Luka, unbelievable. Unbelievable, 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 unbelievable. I feel like every time I have to pull back on Dallas, everyone wants to jump on me and say that I'm, a Luka hater. Luka is unbelievable. Easily one of the best players in the NBA, no question, no question. But this idea that the Mavs have what it takes, all of a sudden, Nick Wright wants to elevate the Clippers, a team that he doesn't really believe in, to this great mythological team. He was calling out that James Harden is not that good, and that Westbrook is not that good, and that the Kawhi can't stay healthy, and that PG-13 is inconsistent. So by Dallas beating them, why is that impressive? The answer is it's not. Just like it's not impressive for the Boston Celtics to beat the Miami Heat right now without their big gigantic star. So let's just pump the brakes here. Now you could make the same argument that it's not that impressive for OKC to beat the Pelicans without Zion. Totally true. Absolutely true. But I just think that the Mavericks versus OKC, if that's what it ends up being, will be a hard fought tough series. And I think it will be a little bit harder for them to stop Luka. But I think at the same time, the scoring and the ball movement and their pieces that OKC has is way more consistent and way more refined than the Clippers. And they got Chet Holmgren, which I think will cause trouble for some of what Luka does, for some of his mid-range game, for some of his, kind of like little jump pop layups that he does. So make no mistake about it. This is not some walk in the park. Oh, Dallas is going to win this game and then they're going to roll OKC or beat them in 5 or 6. I think that's just like, you have to give some takes. So it's not hard to say OKC wins in 6, Dallas wins in 6. Like both those takes are technically safe because I think either way it could happen. So I don't know. Let's see what Brew has to say.
I'm with Nick in that I'm not surprised. Luka Doncic, I will not go. I think he hasn't had enough playoff games to put him on that list. I think number will probably come down a little as he, plays more games. But he's an all-time great. He's one of those, like I say, Shohei Ohtani's the best baseball player ever. But he's not the GOAT, you know what I mean? Sure. You got to do it for longer. Luka Doncic, now I know the top 10 is getting crowded,
it's
right?
Getting crowded.
But he is a guy that when it's all said and done and his career is over, he should be in that discussion.
Wow.
I think he's that good. I'm not saying he'll crack it because, again, that top 10 is getting awfully crowded.
Yeah.
But he is good enough.
The top 10 will always be messed up now because the basketball has changed. Basketball has changed. Bigger guys are doing different things. It's more offensive friendly. This, more possessions, more shooting, more threes. So this whole idea of top 10, like, again, how do you compare? And I love Magic Johnson, and I'm using Magic Johnson for a very specific reason because he's obviously unbelievable and amazing. But how can you compare Magic Johnson at this point to what Luka does or what Steph does, like in the modern NBA? You just can't. It just becomes impossible. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, absolutely amazing, obviously. Was the scoring champion for a million years. How do you compare him to what Wembanyama is going to be able to do one day? What Luka is doing right now? What Steph did? Like, I don't know how we could any longer compare such old eras to modern NBA because it just has changed significantly. And it's the same thing with football. Football has changed dramatically, especially from the quarterback position, what you can do in the pocket, how many throws you're expected to make, the emphasis on the offensive passing game, as well as the rules changing to make it literally easier for offenses to score, especially quarterbacks. So I just think that this whole top 10, this, that, eventually it's going to be 2020, it's going to be 2050. Okay, and we're going to be like comparing things that happened nearly 100 years ago, and the game is just going to look wildly different. So I just, that's why I'm not interested in top 10 lists or this or that or saying, oh, well, he's the 11th best. I put these guys in groups. They were all great. They were great at their respective time, at their era. I have no idea how one of these players would be. I was talking to someone in the comments the other day about Larry Bird. Like, right, who do you pick? Larry Bird or Luka? At this point, I have no idea. Larry Bird is obviously unreal. But Larry Bird, what would he do in the modern NBA? Would he be even better or would he be worse? You have to imagine that some of these players would be better because they would have the modern times to take advantage of. So I just think it'll always be hard to compare eras. So,
Yes.
Where he should be in that conversation.
Do you think he could finish as one of the 3 best offensive guys ever? Because that's what I think. I don't know how much we're going to ding him on the defense.
But he's even starting to play defense.
That's right.
And so guys that are in that conversation, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Steph, Kareem, they do this. Yes. They do this every once. When they're hurt, when they got a cold, the flu, whatever, they come through with big postseason moments. So Luka did that. So that's number one. Number two, he is now at the stage of his career where he understands the individual numbers and accolades are nice. That's what you want to do initially. Establish that you're a superstar. But then you won't get the respect you covet and deserve until you start winning and getting, like, every year you're in that hunt.
Yes.
And so that's, I think, why he's playing better defense. And so, no, I'm not surprised. I mean, the dude is great.
Yeah, he's great. He'll continue to be great. Luka also hasn't had the support as some of these other players have had, like LeBron, like Jokic, like, Curry, Kobe. all of this. So I think Luka, if you gave him like another elite true weapon and one that's not named Kyrie Irving, I think they would have even more success. And the Dallas and Luka would have even more success. I don't see them having enough this season. Even if they do somehow manage to make the Western Conference Finals, which is definitely a possibility. I'm not trying to act like there's zero chance. Honestly, I was thinking about this, and this may be a little cop out, but I don't care because I'm just being honest. I feel like I have to watch game one of each of these games, maybe even 2 games to actually get a feel for like what is the competition here. How evenly matched is going to be these two, series, because it's just in terms of, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Nuggets and whoever OKC plays, because I think these matchups are fascinating, and I think they have potential to both go 7 games, quite honestly. So I'm really, really excited, but I just don't know if we should be just jumping for, just acting like Luka is just dismantling this amazing top level Clippers team, because that's just not really the reality. They're an inconsistent team. Westbrook is inconsistent. James Harden is obviously inconsistent. PG-13 is technically the most consistent, but also inconsistent. And then you have Kawhi Leonard, who can't stay healthy and stay on the court. So I just like what, Luka's beating a bunch of old inconsistent players right now. That's only so impressive to me, quite honestly. It really, really is. The fact that they didn't take care of the game, and win in 5, to me says more about that. And you know what? Kyrie has had some moments where he's looked really unbelievable, because that's what Kyrie, he could be a highlight reel, but he's also disappeared and vanished for big stretches of time. And you're not going to be able to do that against OKC or the Denver Nuggets and still win. You could do that against the Clippers. You can't do that against the other teams. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think? Are you surprised a quote injured Doncic was able to get it done? And do you think Luka and the Mavs will be able to reach the Western Conference Finals and, dare I say, even the NBA Finals? And dare I say, actually win? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.